don't think I had any homework.
Hello, Val. It's good
Hi.
to see you again.
Hi.
So, how's your week been since the last time we met?
I guess it's okay. Like, kind of more of the same.
Can you give me a little bit more of an explanation as to what the same means?
Well, let's see. I know I met with you last week, so like I said, we have our new house. So my husband and I really get together on the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's part of what's hard because I'm trying to meet new people and make friends. So I made, and I'm not always 100% sure that he's going to come down on the weekend, which is a whole nother annoyance because we have the other house. So I assumed that he would just go spend weekends. Like he wouldn't be here pretty much, I guess. So when I bought this house, I thought we were selling our house and he was going to make this his residence. He's not doing that, but I also thought he always went away on the weekends, and I thought he would continue to do that. So, but now he's been like shifting everything and coming down here on the weekends. So I'm making this way too long. But so Friday night, I made plans to go out with a girl from work, and I said I'd be home around 6:30. So I know that that's what I said, but it's like I'm kind of excited to just have a friend and like someone to talk to, especially when I sit home all week by myself. So I'm, starting a new job. I mean, it's sometimes I can't even keep track of the names of everyone that I'm meeting just because literally I don't know anyone. Like, it's moving. So anyway, so I was really excited, and I thought for sure this woman would cancel, but she didn't. So I said, okay, well, let's, we were meeting for a drink after work. And so then she proceeded to get into kind of a really involved conversation about her marriage, and she's really struggling with it. So I enjoyed talking to her, and I didn't feel like I could just be like, okay, I gotta go. So around 7, my husband texted me and like, oh, what happened to being home at 6:30, and so I ended up getting home around 8, and he's like, then the next text was like, I'm eating without you. And I'm just like, on the other hand, he could have just sent a nice text that said, hey, you must be enjoying yourself. Would you like me to meet you? Or whatever. It's always like the negative. And so we got kind of into a fight Friday night because I was like, I don't, that's fine if, like you shouldn't make me feel guilty that the one time that I get to go out and do something that I have to, feel like I'm a kid in college, that my parents are making me be home by a certain time. I mean, and then Saturday morning he gets up and we both like walk, and so he went to do his walk and I went to do mine. He never once in the 2 years or whatever that he's been walking has ever asked if I want to go, and he's made the comment, oh, like you'd be too slow, like anyway. So, and I didn't realize until Saturday that that's the first time like we're actually like kind of do the same route, and I didn't even know that. And so then when he came back, then he got in the car and goes, oh, and I'm going to go to the gym. So now you've walked for like an hour, like you only come down on the weekends, and then you're going to go to the effing gym for an hour. And I'm like, why can't you do that 5 days a week? Like when you're home by yourself and you have the same gym facility up there. So why can't, and he's like, no, I can't rearrange my schedule. Like that's when I go to the gym. And that's what's annoying about being married to my husband. So then, so we ended up kind of being standoffish with each other Saturday. And then by like 3 o'clock, he goes, oh, I guess I'm going to go home. And I'm like, I'm the entertainment person. Like there's a million little projects that need done or whatever. It's like, you can't find something to do like by yourself. And he won't go to the beach, which is what I enjoy doing, is going to read and, go to the beach. And so it's like, so then I end up going, okay, well, all right, well, what do you want to do? I'm like, okay, you're the fun police. Like, I'll do whatever. And so we end up like just driving around, which is what he likes to do. And we'll stop at a couple of places and have a drink. And which is nice because I'm finding new places. And we went to, I met a friend from Dartmouth, and she always tells me different restaurants to go to, and she's been like incredibly like good at finding like little places. And so, we ended up at 4 different restaurants, and he picks all seafood restaurants, and I hate seafood. So by the 4th restaurant, it's like I'm hammered because I literally haven't eaten all day, and it's like you're the only person I know that says we're gonna go out to dinner, and then we never eat dinner. And so then Sunday, my friend, I had already told him that I was having a friend because they have a little kid, and I had said to her, "This is come use the beach." So they came to spend the day at the beach, but they, we could have done whatever. And by like noon, he's like, "Oh, that's it. I'm going home." And here it is. And I haven't talked to him since. Like we don't like, and I think we don't talk on the phone or something because we used to live in the same house. So we didn't need to. And he gets really busy at work. I don't have a private office. So, so I haven't talked to him since Sunday. And then tomorrow will be Thursday, and by Friday by Friday morning he'll let me know what he's doing. And I guess the crowning piece was I took Monday off and said I felt like I was getting really stressed out with school and everything else and decided I was going to go down to Foxwoods. And so Friday, which he knew, my boss gave me Monday off for free. And so Friday morning, when he talked to me, I said, "Hey, I have that free room at Foxwoods, and he's like, "Oh, all right, well, if you want to go, I'll go. You choose." So when I said Friday night that I was going, he goes, "Oh, I don't want to go. I'm too busy at work." And so I was like, I said, "Well, I'm stuck going with it." So I'm like, "Great, another day, like, for me to go spend by myself. Like, who wants to go to a casino and, like, go out to dinner and stuff by myself?" And so I can do it and I can still enjoy it, but it's like, what's the point of being married if you can't get someone to do something with you? So that's my week.
So I got some new information in everything that you just told me, and I just wanted to backtrack really quickly. You said that you only see him he comes down on the weekends. So
right.
He's living at your original house, and
right.
you're staying at
right.
this new beach house.
Right. That I thought we were going to both be living in.
So was this a conversation that was had that you guys were going to sell that other house once you've made this into the home that you had initially?
That was what I thought, and then he said no, that it was too long a commute, and that he was going to keep the house.
So when you guys had this conversation, was it discussed that you guys would be staying at that house, and then this would kind of be like a weekend home or a home that you came to?
No, he knew I intended to live here. He has said it. He thought that I wouldn't want to live here, and that I'd want to give it up, and that we'd just end up flipping it. He didn't think I'd actually go through with actually living here.
So he was hoping, and so he didn't discuss it with you. He was just hoping that you would eventually come to the conclusion on your own that you wanted to keep the original house, and that you guys would just put the work in and then resell this house. Is that correct?
Yeah, it gets a little more. Originally, when we bought the house, I had a job that I bought it because I had a job in the area, and they were paying me really well, so it was easy for me to. I literally had doubled my salary, so it was easy for me to just buy another house and pay for it. And then I got laid off from that job, and the new job that I have, I'm back to making what I was normally making, so that extra money to pay for a whole nother house doesn't really exist. And he says it's still no problem, but I just, to me, it's an extreme waste of money to pay for 2 houses.
Okay, so you're still keeping this house, though, correct?
Yeah, I'm living here. I mean, I got a job here, so there's nowhere, if I gave up this house, I'd have to go find another job. And I just really like where I'm living, and I like the house, and I'm happy with things the way they are.
Okay, and have you guys discussed, hey, I'm living here, you're living there? Are you guys like discussing keeping it this way? Are
He-
you guys discussing
That's
it
where it
soon?
gets frustrating. He just won't really commit to much of anything.
So, when you guys have had this conversation, what was said? Like, what was his ultimate conclusion? Like, did he say like, "Oh, well, maybe one day," or what was his reaction?
He says maybe one day. It's just annoying to me that it's not a mutual decision. So, and like you're living in a house that you're the only one. Our daughter's in college. You're living in a house that's a pretty expensive house by yourself. Like when we bought this house, like he's like, nope, you don't take any furniture, don't take anything out of the house to leave it. I was like, this is insane, which I should have just got a U-Haul and just said screw it and took everything that I needed instead of just kind of piecemealing this place together. So I there's like no plan. There's no plan. Like I said, well, why don't you sell the house? And I think it's silly. I don't know why you can't commute like the extra half an hour a day, but according to him, he can't. But I'm like, at least downsize to like a small condo or an apartment or something. And he won't. We just keep not talking about it. So then, and that's the way it is.
Okay, and then you had also said that you were, correct me if I'm wrong, you were hoping he would just stay home on the weekends?
Well, I guess part of what gets annoying is that this is where it gets complicated. We have a weekend. It's gonna make it sound like we're really rich and we're not. So we have a weekend house in New Hampshire that we've had. So for 20 years, he has spent every weekend in New Hampshire. I don't think there's a weekend, if the world ended, he would have still driven up to New Hampshire. So we have this house that sits up there that he pretty much, it was originally my house before we got married. Then he added this huge garage on it and did all this other stuff. So it really became his house. If you went there, you'd never thought a woman ever went in there. It's, just kind of very, everybody that walks in goes, oh, like this is like Mantown. Like he just sort of took over and it's his thing. And so I'm like, so now what are you going to do with that house? It's just sitting there like vacant. Like if you're down here every weekend and you have another house, like why nobody can live in 3 different houses in a 7-day period of time. Like it's just not possible. So like there's lots of alternative solutions, but none of which you'll exercise or even discuss.
So he doesn't want to sell the New Hampshire house?
No, he doesn't want to sell it. I was like, how about if we just rent it for a few years? And he's like, no. So now what I'm finding out and is that he goes up there on Thursdays. So he drives 2 hours to go up to New Hampshire on Thursday, then goes to work for a few hours on Friday, and then comes here on Friday night. And I'm like, that's just like insane. So the time that you put into going back and forth in New Hampshire, that 4 hours, is the same time that it would take you in extra commuting over the week to just commute to Boston from where we live now.
So I can see how that could be frustrating because you had requested that he would come move here with you and just live here, and then you guys would sell the other home.
Right.
But he said no because he didn't want to do the commute.
Right. He
and
said
now
it's too far.
It's too far for him to drive to his job. And now you're finding out that he does a 2-hour commute from the New Hampshire home to his job on Fridays, correct?
Right.
So I can understand why it's frustrating because you're looking for some form of compromise in terms of your current living situation, and it sounds like he's not really willing to compromise on this end with this house, but he's willing to do even more work to commute from the New Hampshire home.
Right. Right. Alexa, shut off the timer. That's correct.